Let's just dive right into this explainer, shall we? Today, we're unpacking the hidden rules of how we analyze and honestly how we teach academic writing. If you've ever felt like there's some sort of invisible barrier between your brilliant thoughts and that grading rubric, well, you're absolutely not alone. We're going to explore the fascinating, and sometimes pretty controversial, world of higher education literacy. And we're drawing on some heavy hitters here, specifically research from the Journal of English for academic purposes and the life's work of a truly legendary linguist.
Because, why does academic writing feel like a secret code? We all know the universal struggle, right? Staring at that blank page, wondering why university writing has to feel so incredibly alien and rigid. You're a perfectly articulate person, but the second you have to crank out a research paper, you suddenly have to put on this highly specific, formal, superstructured voice. Why? Well, it turns out the secret code isn't just you overthinking it. It's actually a massive subject of intense academic study all on its own.
Take the Journal of English for Academic Purposes, for example. There are researchers who literally dedicate their entire careers to unpacking this highly structured environment of publishing and learning. And today we're going to contrast two wildly different frameworks they use to make sense of all this. We've got Systemic Functional Linguistics, which gets right up close to the text itself, and then we have Academic Literacies, which zooms out to look closely at the actual person writing it.
So here's our agenda for today. First, the academic writing puzzle. Second, Systemic Functional Linguistics. Third, Halliday's meaning potential. Fourth, the academic literacies lens. Fifth, texts versus social practices. And finally, a collaborative future. Section 1. The academic writing puzzle, decoding the academy. Let's define our core problem here, navigating the really complex and sometimes totally exclusionary literacy practices demanded by higher ed. Academic writing isn't just about throwing words on a page, is it? It's about entering a very specific community. And for a lot of students, especially those from non-traditional backgrounds, the norms of that community can feel completely foreign. The real puzzle we're trying to solve is how to best teach and understand this unique form of communication so absolutely everyone gets a fair shot at succeeding.
Section 2. Systemic Functional Linguistics. The macro lens. So let's zoom in on our first framework, Systemic Functional Linguistics, or SFL for short. Think of SFL as a macro lens that focuses intensely on the nuts and bolts of the text itself. In the SFL world, the text is everything. It's the primary unit of analysis. They look at how successful academic texts are built, literally word by word, clause by clause, to figure out what makes them tick. But to really grasp SFL, we've got to talk about the fascinating guy who actually created it.
The founder of this theory, Michael Halliday, was an incredible linguist who basically wandered the highways and byways of language his whole life. Get this, when World War II broke out, he took a foreign language course and ended up being sent to India to do counterintelligence work in Chinese. After the war, he actually moved to China to study under linguistic masters at Peking and Lingnan universities. He later taught at Cambridge before eventually establishing his groundbreaking SFL model over in Australia in 1976. All of these wild global experiences completely shaped how he viewed human communication. Section 3. Halliday's meaning potential. Language as action. The absolutely crucial thing to know about Halliday is that he didn't just see language as a bunch of arbitrary rules you memorize from a dusty textbook. No, he saw it as a highly functional tool that humans use to survive and thrive. He actually coined this amazing term, meaning potential. To him, language isn't just what you can say. It's this massive network of choices about what you can mean and how you interact with your social and ecological environment. By defining language as a social semiotic resource, Halliday completely flipped the script. He positioned grammar not as some boring list of do's and don'ts, but as the actual mechanism we use to code meaning into our words so we can exchange ideas. Think about it. If you choose an active voice over a passive voice in your essay, you aren't just following a stylistic rule, right? You're making a functional choice about how to present information and assert your own authority. And it's so cool to see how this builds up right from childhood. Kids naturally develop 7 specific language functions to fulfill their physical, emotional, and social needs. You've got the instrumental function, like a toddler demanding juice. The regulatory function of telling other people what to do. Then there's interactional, socializing, and personal, expressions of feelings. We also see the heuristic function, the kid asking why about 1,000,000 times a day. Plus the imaginative function for telling stories, and the representational function for conveying facts. Basically, language is driven by our need to act on the world. And as we grow up, those early functions evolve into the super complex academic writing skills we use in universities. Halliday actually categorized the entire universe into an ordered typology of complex systems. He put physical systems, like the laws of physics, at the very base. Then comes biological life and then social structures. But look at what sits at the very top: semiotic systems. He argued that language and meaning creation are the absolute highest order of human complexity, sitting right above our biology and our societies. That is exactly how powerful he believed language to be.
Section 4. The Academic Literacies Lens, Panning Out. Okay, let's totally change our camera angle and pan out to a wide shot with our second framework, Academic Literacies. If SFL is the macro lens, looking deeply at the specific words on the page, Academic Literacies is the wide-angle lens capturing the student sitting at the desk, the teacher grading the paper, and the entire university system surrounding them both.
Academic Literacies acts as a real disruptor in this space. It argues that academic writing isn't just about having the right technical skills. It's a complex social practice that honestly can sometimes stand in the way of inclusion and diversity. This framework asks a really tough question. When a student gets a bad grade on an essay, is it actually because they lack the technical skills, or is it because their personal identity, their cultural background, and their unique voice are clashing with the rigid historical expectations of the institution?
Section 5. Texts versus social practices, the Great Divide. This brings us right to the ultimate tension between these two theories and how they view the student experience. It's a massive debate about whether we should focus on the text or the social practice. Like, should we be diagnosing problems in the grammar and the sentence structure, or should we be diagnosing problems in the power dynamics of the university itself? The contrast here is stark, and it's super fascinating. SFL is basically the objective, outsider, or etic perspective. It looks at the text to help you change your words so you fit into the system. It wants to hand you the exact linguistic toolbox you need to write a successful paper. But on the flip side, AL is the insider or emic perspective. It's experiencing the system from within, and it's asking the institution itself to change and make room for diverse, non-traditional voices. It's a huge philosophical divide in how we approach education.
For instance, SFL might break down the wildly successful texts published by academic giants like Elsevier to teach you the winning formula. SFL says, hey, here's how the experts write, let me teach you their secrets so you can join their ranks. But academic literacy steps in and questions if those elite forms of thought are intentionally excluding non-traditional voices. AL says, hold on, why do we only value this one hyper-specific way of writing? Are we silencing brilliant students just because they don't sound like a traditional academic journal?
Section 6. A Collaborative Future. Synthesis. So, what do we do? Are these two seemingly opposing lenses completely incompatible? Well, not necessarily. Researchers are increasingly making the case that to really help students, we actually need the best of both worlds. We need that granular, mechanical focus of SFL, but combined with the broad, empathetic, critical view of academic literacies.
We can absolutely bridge this gap. We do it by valuing the student's personal identity, while at the very same time handing them the precise linguistic tools they need to master and even critique academic discourses. Step 1, we validate exactly where the student is coming from. Step 2, we stop hiding the secret code of academic writing and explicitly teach them how to use it. And Step 3, we encourage them to take that new knowledge and use it to challenge and transform the system from the inside out.
There's a brilliant quote from Halliday that perfectly captures why all of this matters so much. He essentially said that because language is a metaphor for society, it doesn't just transmit the social order, it maintains it, and critically, it can modify it. Mastering academic writing isn't just about passing a class, folks. It's about gaining the power to modify the world around you. Language isn't just a passive reflection of society, it actively creates it. By learning to construct high-level academic meaning, you aren't just submitting to some rule book. You're acquiring the highest-order semiotic tool available to humanity. How incredible is that?
I'm going to leave you with a rather provocative thought to chew on before you tackle your next writing assignment. Understanding the hidden mechanics of academic text gives you a real choice. Are you simply adapting your words to fit the university's expectations just to get the grade? Or are you mastering their language so effectively that you can eventually rewrite the rules of the institution itself? Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me today, and definitely keep questioning the code.